What's up, everybody? This is Fred Richani of the Sports Courier. I have right here on the line a true wrestling legend and entrepreneur. You may have seen him recently on ABC's Shark Tank. He's going to be inducting one of his good friends in the Hall of Fame. Another one of his friends is going to the Hall of Fame as well that same WrestleMania weekend. He is DDP Diamond Dallas Page. Dallas, how's everything going, man?
Unstoppable, brother. Changing the world, man. You see it happening right before your very eyes.
Now, you got a lot going on WrestleMania weekend. We're going to get to that in a second. But a few weeks ago, you were on Shark Tank. You made an awesome presentation for DDP Yoga. The Sharks, for whatever reason, said, I'm out. And you, being the true worker you are, literally no-sold them and said, okay, you're going to regret it. Bang. Walked out. And I thought it was just an awesome, essentially, infomercial for DDP Yoga. What was your Shark Tank experience like?
I loved it. I loved the show. I love that it's real. You know, nobody knows before you go out there what's going to happen. You work really hard on your presentation. I knew that the producers loved what we were doing, and they loved the story. You know, for them to let me bring Arthur out there was just unbelievable to me. And you know, I didn't really go there to get a deal with the Sharks. You know, I went there to let the world know about DDP Yoga. And if I got a deal with the Sharks, then it would have been on my terms. You know, I didn't want to. I've already been with billionaires before. You do things on their terms, it don't always work out for you. Yeah. You do them on your own terms, well, then whole different animal. And in this scenario, I thought the show sounded great, looked great, the energy was amazing. I can't even tell you how much business it gave DDP Yoga. You know, it was well over 7 figures. So, you know.
That's awesome. And we actually asked some fans to submit questions. There were a number of questions about Shark Tank. The one that kept popping up is, did you want to give a diamond cutter to Mr. Wonderful?
Yeah. You know, I like the character, Mr. Wonderful, that he plays out there. He's pretty much himself. Sort of like wrestling, you know, guys who get over, our guys are close to themselves. And, you know, I respect the guy. You know, I love his energy. And the biggest thing that they never showed, you know, because there's a lot, obviously, we filmed that they didn't show. And the biggest part of it was they couldn't get over how we made all the money. Like, how did you do it? Well, we're inspiring people. We're inspiring people to own their lives. Yeah, but how did you do it? Like, we're inspiring people. People are inspired by what we're doing. They're not just buying it to get their healthy. It's not like, hey, look at my abs. It's more DDP Yoga is more like, hey, look at my life. Yeah. You know, perfect example. Let's take 2 guys a year and a half ago. We're lost in a bottle somewhere. You know, one guy at a crack house, you know. But look at them a year and a half later, and they're both going to the Hall of Fame, looking friggin' unbelievable. You know, that's a lifestyle change. That's a complete lifestyle change. That's what Jacob Scott did. You saw what happened. Disabled veteran Arthur Borman, walking on knee braces, back bracing, wraparound canes, brought him to the show with me. He just didn't walk, he runs. You know, but he made a complete lifestyle change. And he wanted to own his life. So did Jake Roberts, so did Scott Hall. So bottom line is, they did it. How? By friggin' taking control and following a program, you know, that's not just a workout, you know, it's more of a lifestyle.
Yeah, and it is amazing. I mean, Scott Hall, Jake the Snake Roberts, both going into the Hall of Fame. You were inducting Jake the Snake Roberts. When you heard the announcements, what was your reaction? I mean, I'd imagine you were overwhelmed, but just... and I know you've been working with these guys almost every day to get better, to turn their lives around, not just fitness-wise, but just, you know, overall, like you said, the lifestyle. Just to see it culminate with this Hall of Fame induction. I mean, just how are you feeling right now?
Well, it just once again proves that work ethic equals results. If you're willing to put the work in, just about anything can happen. And it wasn't the oh my God, they just got announced in the Hall of Fame. It's when I got the call from Triple H and he told me what was going down. And that was the moment of like, awesome. You know, because he told me about a year ago, You know, that because I wanted to bring Jake to the Hall of Fame last year, not be in the Hall of Fame, but to come in, just because we were going to show up because we were signing like we're doing this year at WrestleCon, and I just wanted to bring him back. You know, walk into the arena with me and watch the show, and they really wouldn't. They didn't want him to come around. You know, because Jake wasn't ready yet. But when Triple H saw what I was doing with him and helping him, he's like, you know, dude, a year from now, who knows what could happen? He didn't promise you'd get him in the Hall of Fame, but he did say, I would love to put Jake in. Jake belongs in the Hall of Fame. So does Scott. And I couldn't tell this story. I only told the part with Jake in it because I couldn't talk about Scott before now. But I knew a month ago that they were taking him in. So, you know, that was a moment where I thought, wow, that's unbelievable. And Triple H, you know, he made it happen, but, you know, it's what we did together that let them take notice. So, again, it shows that anything's possible. You know, I remember saying to Jake one time after we knew Scott was going to come up, and Jake was already in a good headspace by then. And I said, you know, Jake, it looks like he's really going to come. I said, can you imagine if you and him not only get straight in the same year, but in the same house? And he started laughing, and he said, oh, my God. He goes, I'll start to get your crown of thorns ready right now.
Now, you're going to be making the speech for Jake. Do you have any idea what you're going to say yet, or are you just going to wing it?
Are you kidding? You don't wing something like that. You know, I have a lot of thoughts written out, and I will work on those. And before I go out there and I start, I'll probably use a lot of them. I don't know if I'll use them all, but I'll use a lot of them. But it'll have the same whole undertone. It will be very emotional. It's something no one wants to miss because this is, you know, something people have been waiting for almost 20 years. Now, Jake should have been inducted 20 years ago, but Jake was going to crash and burn 20 years ago, and just getting worse as time went on. So, and I'll talk about that too. You know, but you know, the big thing is he has overcome. Now, that's today because he's an alcoholic drug addict. That don't mean he's going to be there tomorrow. You know, but he's only looking at today, and that's all people need to look at. Where are you today? And we started filming this movie, The Resurrection of Jake the Snake, and it's going to be an unbelievable movie. If the buzz from the wrestler, the fictitious wrestler of the movie, can get the buzz that it's got over the years, that movie's about Jake Roberts, or someone very close to Jake Roberts. Well, now you're going to get to see the other one, the other movie, the real movie. And my boys are editing that as we speak. People have been asking me for the last 16 months, so when will the movie be finished? I said, when Jake gets to the Hall of Fame.
That's awesome.
I mean, where else can you rise from the ashes and hit the resurrection part better than the Hall of Fame? It's the only thing I put over the world title. You know, the Hall of Fame, man, that's a big deal, you know?
Now, are you planning on crowdfunding, like maybe Kickstarter, to get this film out there? Do you have a distributor already? I mean, can you provide any details at all? Are you allowed to about like the release of the film and everything?
Yeah, well, I can, but you know, it's all DDP Yoga's paid for everything. Okay. You know, this entire journey, you know, finance the entire film. And we're not just a fitness company. We're a production company. So. DDP Yoga is a production company, and And what you're going to see over the next couple of years is really going to be some strong stuff. Our movie, we got another movie we're probably about 6 months or finishing up away from as well. It's called Inspired the Movie. And that's the Arthur Borman journey meets all the other people that have been inspired along the way. All right, so we've got two amazing movies that we're taking to film festival next year. And the resurrection of the resurrection of Jake the Snake is a pivotal part of that. You know, to me, that movie could just be amazing. And I don't need money. Jake, we raise money for Jake because Jake's have insurance. He can't really get insurance, so that paid for his shoulder surgery. And you know, we only asked for $9,200, I think it was. We didn't realize it was really like $17,000 by the time it was all said and done. So thank God he brought in like 29. I think Indiegogo took like $2,000 or something. But you know, that gave the fans a chance to help Jake move forward. So this time it's not about that. You know, not about the movie anyway. I don't need anybody's help for that. You know, we have this movie coming together, and I think it's going to inspire a lot of people.
Definitely looking forward to it. And as a guy that's followed DDP Yoga and did DDP Yoga back when it was called YRG, you know, I certainly know about Arthur's story. Definitely looking forward to that movie as well. WrestleMania, right around the corner. You're involved in a lot of events, and you've actually been on a couple WrestleMania cards yourself. Now, while you did not have to go overcome any demons or anything like that, like Jake or Scott, you did have a lot of people doubt you over the years. You had a lot of people say, oh, this guy who's in his 30s can't succeed and get to the top. Meanwhile, you ended up becoming world champion after the age of 40, drew a lot of money, made a lot of money, had a lot of great matches in WCW, and you made a WrestleMania appearance as a wrestler, WrestleMania 18, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, about a decade before that, you actually made that appearance as a manager in a pink Cadillac?
Actually, it was 12 years before that.
Okay. Yeah, 12 years before that.
Yeah, pretty interesting run, man. You know, I always wanted to work at WrestleMania, so I'm glad I got that, you know, to work that match in Toronto. And you look back at the card, Christian and I had one of the best matches on the card. Of course, the Rock-Hogan match was unbelievable. The electricity in that arena was insane. But considering we didn't have any, you know, heat on our angle, I was really happy with the match and how people reacted to that match. So I've got great feelings. And I also have the same undefeated streak as Undertaker. Of course, I only got one in my belt, but, I mean, we're still both undefeated.
Yeah. and with all due respect to WCW and any other organizations you worked for besides WWE, is there any event you've ever been involved with that remotely comes close to WrestleMania?
Well, no, because it is what it is. It's the spectacle. You know, the work that, you know, the WWE have done to create more and more of a spectacle just continues to overdo itself, and I love it. You know, it's like the Super Bowl. Sometimes it can't live up to the hype, but it's still WrestleMania, and there's some great matches going to come out of that field no matter what. There's a couple great matches every year. So will it lead up to the hype? I don't know. But you know, a lot of people still see Daniel Bryan. They want to see something really happen for him. So I want to be really interested to see what happens over the next you know, couple of months here, you know, going into, I got Mania in 2 more weeks, and what happens after that? That's going to be interesting. And you never know what's going to happen in the WWE. That's what I love about it.
And I remember for years, you always told me and you always told fans, you can't make people chant DDP. You can't make people chant DDP, and that's how you got over. Because at the end of the day, you can't just force people to chant something. And I feel like it's kind of similar with Daniel Bryan. It's very organic. And I mean, people chanting Daniel Bryan, not just when he's out there, but during other matches. I think John Cena and Orton had a match on pay-per-view a couple months ago. People were just taking over, hijacking the show, chanting Daniel Bryan, chanting yes. What's your opinion on the whole yes movement?
I think it's awesome. You know, I love the kid. I think he's an awesome kid. He's got a great attitude. He's a good person. You know, I would love to see him get the spot that the fans want to do it, and the fans, you know, buy the tickets. You know, so it will be interesting to see what happens.
Definitely.
That's why I said the next few months. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I don't think we spoke about this the last time you were here in the Sports Courier. We were talking off the air about this, but you did have a chance to go to the WWE Performance Center. I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Well, I think they've given them the best educational tool, I should say, to help teach these kids what the business is all about. I mean, that place is amazing. There's 7 rings, but there's 50 guys down there and about 20 women. And I took them to the DDP Yoga workshop. And what's interesting is kids that are like, I'll give you an example. I played Arthur's video, so for some of them I'd seen it, but not all of them. So when you first see Arthur's video, you're like, oh my God, that's unbelievable. If anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, go to ddpyoga.com. Just watch the video. Don't even get the program. Just watch the video. It will inspire you for sure. After I showed them that, then I do this little thing where I sit down and I talk for about 40 minutes. And for these guys, I started off with saying, before we get going, I just want to know by a sign of hands how many people have a problem with the word yoga. And I raised my hand. And I bring it down and go, because nobody else did. And I said, okay, that was very nice of you to be polite about this. I said, but I'm a guy who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga the first 42 years of my life. If you got a problem with it, raise your hand. I'd like to know about it. No one. And then as it comes to know that these people down there, these kids down there, they couldn't wait for me to get there. Every single one of them asked for the program, and I give them to them all to do it. And a lot of them are doing it on a ritual basis, which is what it takes to really stay ahead of it. And, what I realized is people who are under 28, 29, 30 years old, they get it. It's people who are over 35, especially men, 40, 45, 50, because I was one of them. Oh, yoga, what's yoga all about? I ain't doing yoga. Well, fine, I've been that guy, so I get that. But I was really surprised none of them felt like that, which puts them in a farther step ahead than your average bear, because for them, there are no more painkillers or muscle relaxers. DDP Yoga is their new painkiller, muscle relaxer. Like I've had guys who, like Jericho, was, couldn't do anything. He blown out herniated his L4, and he was told he'd never wrestle again. We believed after 3 weeks until he saw the Arthur Bourne video. And when he saw that, he called me and said, DDP, you send me whatever he did, I will do it. I will do whatever you tell me to do. So 5 weeks later, Chris Jericho called me and said, man, I got to put you over, dude. DDP Yoga. He said, I can't believe it, man. He goes, I'm 85% pain-free. Does everyone feel like this? And I said, well, if they get it, yeah, they do. In 3 months, he was 100% pain-free. And 2 years ago, headlined WrestleMania against Punk. So, it just showed what DDP Yoga is all about and the benefits that can be had out of that. And having someone like Chris Jericho pimp your product when you're not paying them to. He talks about it because he does it. It's cut and simple, just like that. And he loves it. He wants to get the word out. He's constantly calling me up and saying, dude, I got the lead guitarist from Spider, or whoever, whatever band he's on the road with. He goes, he needs DDP Yoga. Will you hook him up? Done. Chris Jericho gives me a call. I got to make it happen. Because he's just always constantly spreading the word. It's awesome.
Definitely awesome. It's funny because you're tight with a guy by the name of Rob Van Dam, who's on the verge of making his WWE comeback. Some say he might even make a surprise appearance in that Andre the Giant Battle Royal. But he's also a guy that's always been kind of big. I don't know how much he's into yoga per se, but I always remembered people like I hear him in interviews say, yeah, I'd be like the only guy backstage that would stretch. And it's funny because you two guys, I'd say, I don't know if pioneers is the right word, but you were the guys that kind of got into the habit of working on your flexibility to prolong your careers while other guys kind of dismissed it.
Well, I got to put Rob. Yeah. I got to put Rob over more than me because I looked at when Kimberly was trying to get me to do yoga, and I was like, "Fuck that! I wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga." You know, that was my attitude. And when I looked at Rob and how crazy flexible he was, he's not just flexible; he's strong flexible. Like it's not just his muscles that are limber; his muscles, tendons, and ligaments are very strong. I mean, he's been hurt once in his over 20-year career. So Rob Van Dam inspired me to take it past simple stretching and take it to what would become DDP Yoga.
Yeah, he's awesome. You already answered my question. I was just going to ask you, like, how amazing is it to see him over the age of 40 still doing what he's doing? I mean, just unbelievable. He's
a stud. Make no mistake about it. Rob Van Dam is a stud. You know, he's from a particular tribe. I don't know where it's from, but he's an animal. He's an animal.
Before we let you go, you obviously got a lot going on. We actually did have a few fans submit some quick questions regarding WrestleMania weekend. Can you tell everybody what you're going to be doing in New Orleans besides the Hall of Fame?
Well, it starts out with Thursday night. I'm doing like a Q&A type thing, panel for the WWE. Then Friday night, that's Thursday night. Friday night, from 5 to 8 at the Holiday Inn, I'll be doing a DDP Yoga workshop. You can find all that at ddpyoga.com and then go under appearances. Actually, Friday night, I will be over at, I'm going to make an appearance over at Jake and Scott's. They're doing a show over there at the Chicago Blues. You know, Chicago Blues is called. What's it called? The Chicago. The House of Blues.
House of Blues.
The House of Blues. Yeah, the House of Blues. So I'll be over there Friday night after that. And Saturday morning we'll all be up and over to head over to WrestleCon. Me, Jake, and Scott will all be at WrestleCon signing there. And then later on that afternoon, I know I have to do something to get ready to get over to the Hall of Fame and induct Jake Roberts on Saturday night. I think we're going to a party after that. And then Sunday morning, I believe it's 9 to 11, I will be doing a Q&A breakfast with DDP back at the Holiday Inn. And you can see that right, again, up on ddpyoga.com and go under appearances. That's where you can see what I'm doing. And for those of you who aren't going to make it to WrestleMania, but you might want to like really enjoy an amazing retreat, I do the DDP Yoga Retreat. I do that down in Mexico every year. It's our 4th annual. And I broke it up into 2 different weeks. Starts on July 5th and goes to July 15th. And you can pop in for 3 days, 5 days, 6 days, whatever you want to pop in, either one weekend or the other. And that's going to be a hell of a time. You know, we work out hard, but you don't have to do all the workouts, but they're there for your option. We eat really good. The food there is unbelievable. This is a 5-star resort that we're doing this on, and we party. You know, we party hard, and that's something that happens at the pool after that second workout during the day. So it's a lot of fun, and there's going to be some surprise guests. Last year, Dustin Rhodes showed up. No one knew. I knew he was coming, but no one knew that he was coming. So this year, I got a few of the boys wanting to come down. So it's going to be a hell of a party down there, and you know, everybody's got the right mindset. It's just a really great group of people. Last year, I had to stop letting people come on because there was too many. But this year, I'm keeping it intimate, and so better get over to ddpyogaretreat.com for that.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, Dallas, as always, it's a pleasure talking to you. Before we let you go, it's been a little while since you've done a movie, and I asked some fans to submit a few questions, and surprisingly, I got 5 questions regarding the subject. And so I guess I'll just kind of sum them up all into one question here. Would you be open to doing Ready to Rumble 2 so you could get revenge on Jimmy King?
No. That would be preposterous. That would be preposterous. Go ahead on to the next one. But I'm glad I did Ready to Rumble 1. Because there's new fans every day coming out of that movie. You know, and I'll be 42 forever there.
Absolutely. And actually, before we go, any other movies you got on the horizon, or just mostly DDP Yoga?
Yeah, there's one. No, there's one that's supposed to come out called Pizza Man, and I star across from Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle.
Hang on. I've heard about that movie for 5 years, man. Are they finally releasing it?
Has not finally releasing it. Oh my God, I can't believe it. You know, ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it took that long to do. You know, Shelley Long's in it, Corbin Burnson. You got a great crew in that movie. It's a lot of fun too. It's a fun movie. It's a fun kid. You know, it's a superhero comedy. And it's the first movie I've ever been with no F-bombs or shits in there. I couldn't believe it. Not one. So it's made for families, you know, but I think a lot of adults will get a kick out of it too to a certain degree. And I'm just about to do a very dark movie. I'm talking to producers right now trying to work out, you know, the money. If the money works, I'll do it. If not, I ain't got the time. But it's called Almost Mercy, and that's a pretty disturbing flick. Dark. Lastly, I'll leave you with this, Freddie. If you heard me talk about DDP Yoga, you heard other people talk about it, you know, you want to go to ddpyoga.com. All the info is right there that you can invest in the product and change your life, own your life even better. But if you think, oh, I don't know, he's just trying to sell shit, don't listen to a word I say. Go to DDPYOGA, one word, DDP Yoga. Read what people write. You started out at the beginning of this interview saying, I've always said you can't make people chant your name, and you can't. That's something that totally has to be voluntary. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, when you get people to chant your name, it's hard. It's because they care. It's the same thing when it comes to what I'm doing today with DDP Yoga. You can't get them to write stories about what you're doing with your program. They come from the heart. Go to ddpyoga.com and read what people write.
Sounds good, brother. Always a pleasure talking to you. Have fun WrestleMania weekend. I know you'll be having a good time. And, yeah, we're definitely looking forward to speaking to you when the Jake Roberts movie's out.
Sounds good, brother.